and welcome, fellow bookworms and film fans. Welcome to this week's episode of The Contented Narrative. It is a book review of The Man in the Picture by Susan Hill. Now, Susan Hill, as we know, did The Woman in Black. There's other stories as well that she's done that I have read. And as you can see, it's not a particularly big book. But in her, the writing's massive as well. Like, honestly, I got this done in half a day. Probably would have got it done quicker, but adulting. And it's a good book. It is, I say book, novella, it's quite small. It's only a couple hundred pages. And the story is so simplistic. So basically what it is it's about this this guy that has a friend who's a professor who's got this painting, and it's a Venetian painting, but there's somebody in it that shouldn't be in it. And the professor is telling the story of how he's been told this story of how the person got into the painting and how it's like a curse, basically. And honestly, it was just so well, like, it had me right to the end. Like, the characters were brilliantly done, despite it only being a couple of hundred pages. It's very hard to get across the characters and good characters in such a short space of time. But the way they interacted with each other, the way the book ended was brilliant. As you know, I don't give away endings in the book reviews because I really think you should read them yourself first, point of call. Now, overall, it does get a 4 out of 5 from me. It wasn't a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 is quite rare for me. But it is one that I would reread. And Susan Hill, she's just such a unique writer in the respects that what you think is going to happen, and you're like, oh, so this is what she's building up to. This is exactly what it's going to be. And it's not. And what you actually end up is completely different to what you think you are. And even though, and she's always got that last little bit as well to sort of be like, oh, you thought you were okay? No, you're not. And honestly, it's a shame that more of her works hasn't been adapted to screen, because I'd love to do another books film adaptation with her works. And like, I would always happily pay full price. Like, I never wait for it to go on sale or whatever for her books. And to be perfectly honest, I would definitely give this one a go. It had me from the very first page. And you kind of sat there going, oh, I want to know. I need to know what this is. And the ending that you get is not the ending that you want necessarily, but it's the ending that it needed. And I'm always very reluctant when I say things like that, because obviously what you want from a book, you always go in with preconceived conceptions of what you're going to read and how it's going to end. And with a lot of books, with horror especially, or with detective novels, spy novels, you're always like, right, well, okay, this this is going to happen, but then it's going to end like this, and this is what this is going to be, and so on and so forth. And you just see the threads through the book, and you're like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to go. And then it doesn't, and you're like, oh, brilliant. But she, like, her writing style, it's not simplistic. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's easy to read, because I know that sometimes when you're reading books, like when I've tried H.P. Lovecraft a couple of times, and I know he's of his age, but I find his writing style too overly complicated. I've had that a couple of times where I've read a book and I've been like, you are complicated for no reason. Like, you are too hard to read. I just don't understand why you're doing it. That's not the case with Susan Hill, but she also doesn't treat you like you're an idiot. And it's just, and I don't know what I was expecting, because when I bought this online, and when it arrived, I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger, because I never look at how long a book is when I buy it online. I'll just buy it. But it was worth it. It genuinely was. And I would 100% recommend going out and reading The Man in the Picture by Susan Hill, because it is a really good little book, and it won't take you too long to read. But it's definitely worth it. If there's any book recommendations that you'd like me to do, I know that my dad has asked for The Sanatorium, which at some point I will buy, and then at some point I will read. I do have a lot of books to read, a lot of books to buy, and I might be running out of space to put them all. But if you've got any book recommendations that you'd like me to do, if you've got any book to film recommendations that you'd like me to do, please leave it below in the comments. Don't forget to click subscribe so you're alerted whenever a new video comes out. Thank you so much for all your continued support, and remember to always keep it contento.